band here where I live, and so I only have 25%, 7 days left, which is really not bad.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, so I'm going to a conference tomorrow. It's called NACAT, the National Automotive Council of the North American Council of Automotive Teachers. And every year they go to a different city, and this one is 3.5 hours away at a college. And I know probably 50% of all the trainers that are going to be there. And the guy who leads it, I know him really well. He's been on the show a bunch of times. So we met, Bill and his wife, we met him in Orlando about 2 months ago when I got my award. And so I'm taking Annie with me, and we're going down for the day.
Nice.
I'm happy about that. Be good. And at the same time, it just kind of, Andrea, it just backs me up a bit, but that's okay. Nothing I can't handle. I'm just scurrying. Is that an English word? Scurrying.
Scurrying is exactly that. Yeah. Scurry.
Otherwise, yeah, things are great and rolling and rocking, and I'm having fun. The challenges are just on a daily basis. You know what I mean, Andrea?
I feel you, my brother. I feel you.
I feel you, my brother.
Feel my pain. Feel my neck. Feel my neck. Oh.
Still growing the hair, though. That's a win.
I'm still growing the hair.
That's a big W.
A little wet. It's a little wet, but I got to get this fluffed out in the back.
I like it. It's like you're like carrying the modern mullet.
No, well, that's one of the things I don't want to do. Is I do not want a mullet.
No, it's good. I like it. I think it looks pretty.
I do not want a mullet.
Well, a little too little, too late.
So I went out to a party Saturday night with a bunch of
80s people,
former colleagues that I worked with for years. The actual guy that I sold my business to back in 1998, it was at his house, and I went to work for him, and so I walk in with his hair. Oh my God, I was just crucified. They loved it. They said, "The hell's a surfer hair all about?" I said, "Because I can."
That's right. Hey, at least you can still grow it, right?
Exactly. You've got to be thankful
lots
for
of
that.
people. Yeah, there's lots of people that have all kinds of hair issues.
So I meet a woman, Mark, that I had known. I went to an emotional intelligence conference with her. It was a week long. Probably in the early 2000s. I got to know her. She's a recruiter. She's a placement person. She's a skill developer for emotional intelligence, et cetera, et cetera. And she comes up to me, "Oh, Carm, it's been a long time. How you doing?" She says, "What are you doing?" And I says, "I'm podcasting." And she almost fell over. She says, "Oh my God, I'm like this close to wanting to do my own podcast." And she says, "I don't know where to start and what to do." And I said, "Okay, I'll tell you exactly what you have to do. Let's just carve out some time, come to my place. I'll come to your place. We'll figure it out."
Nice, man.
And I told her about PW. So, I don't know about this affiliate thing, and I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. But if she ever joins, I'll let you know.
Sounds good. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that.
And the association that I do business with, ASA, the ones that gave me the Communicator of the Year, they approached me in a high level and says, we're getting ready. We're starting to do weekly webinars, and we're not sure we're really doing them right, and we have our consistency right, and we may be wanting to hire you as a moderator for it.
Oh, nice.
So, and I said, guys, I've done 25 podcasts for them in the last 2 years, and it's sitting on their site. And I said, if you don't expose this into the streams of subscription services, you've really literally wasted money. And if you start doing more and more of these things with me, we've got to figure out a way to do this. And they said, "Well, how do we do this?" I said, you've really got to figure. They have this website called Auto Inc. Audio. It's part of their Auto Inc. magazine. And I said, you've really got to get a podcast websites. And I basically sent them your link and everything, that, you got to be able to merge and link this together and let them do all of your uploads for you. And so they were interested in that. Who knows where that's going, but it's an opportunity.
That's good, man. So, well, all right. So their wins, like 35,000 wins. We got any challenges? Apart from the conference coming up, that's a big one.
Yeah, my challenge is balancing the Mark. Here's the problem. I want to do the new show. For the Record is like a week away from launch. I have 5 episodes totally done. Opens, closes, produced. MP3s are all ready to go. And the work around the yard that I kind of ignored during the spring, I was out busting my ass this weekend. I had to go get mulch, and my yard was really looking bad, and so it's the challenge is the balance, Andrea, with knowing I got to do all that other stuff, but and I can't stop but thinking about doing my own, the Insights show. Almost every waking moment, I keep coming up with driving topics and things that I would want to say, and that I need to go into the studio and play and try it and see what feels. And still, Rick, my VA, is having his own challenges with the flu, and his whole flu's through the whole family. He continues to work, the rains in the Philippines, and the flooded house. And, I've never seen more challenges with an employee in my life. I'm sorry, contract person.
It can be difficult, all that stuff. It always seems to be as well like a bedding in process. So like when they're bedding in, there seems to be more like it's like the weather knows they're bedding in, and then after a year of working with them, suddenly the weather's not a problem anymore. Weird. It's a weird thing. I would just I'd just persist with it, but I'd just
I had a nice long talk with him, asking him how he's now. We're in our 5th week, and how he's dealing with the responsibilities, and it was. I gave him a lot of confidence, but I also told him where he needs to focus more. And so I'm weaning him into becoming a extremely valuable asset. Yeah. It's been a little tougher than I thought, because I think what he claimed he could do, he's not really as good as certain things. I think he was more determined to almost be an admin assistant. It's almost like, can I get you coffee? Stuff like that. And here I'm looking for the second locomotive in the stream of engines on the train.
What are the tasks that you're struggling with a little bit?
He's struggling with he's struggling with MailChimp a little bit, and unfortunately, I've done all the videos. And I said to him, I said, would you do me a favor? Watch the video, then go do the task.
Yeah.
Watch the video, then go do the task. and please don't try to do it from memory. I've done 400 of these. You've done 4. You're never going to get the routine down. And then we've had some challenges along the way, and this didn't work, and that wasn't. And I said, watch the video, do the task. So I'm really trying to refine him so that he can be a whole lot more productive.
Yeah, it is very difficult. I've just been saying the thing there's little bits of things like that you don't expect. Like I was just talking to Hannah now about like my time generally in an afternoon is a nightmare. So we need anything that needs QCing by me needs to be done before a certain time, and Hannah often does it after the time because it's just a training thing. It's just a repeat and repeat and repeat thing. So
I heard her giggle.
Yeah, she giggles.
I heard her.
Yeah, she can keep giggling. Yeah, she'll be giggling on the way to the job centre soon, Anna. I'm gonna joke.
Oh no!
I'm joking. She knows that I'm joking.
You're on fire today.
I know. No, she knows that I'm joking. I would never sack someone. It would be redundancy with no pay. I'm only joking.
Yo.
We have banks. It's fine. But the point is, Cam. Yeah, it's a total pain sometimes to just because it takes like in the initial 2 months, it takes kind of often more of your time to do that. But then afterwards, it's pretty plain.
But Mark, I've never realized how much baggage this guy has.
Oh, really? Yeah,
boy, does he have baggage? His wife works.
Yeah.
12-hour days at a bank.
Anna doesn't have baggage.
The 2 kids go to school. So what does Rick do? He gets up in the morning. He takes his kids to school, his wife to school, and then he works. And then he cleans the house. and he makes dinner and picks up the boys and comes back. And so he's willing to work from 8 to midnight, 8 to 1, 4 hours in the afternoon, 4 hours in the evening to get it done. The evening thing ain't bad because that's my time during the day, right?
Yeah.
So he's off and on his own. I'm using Slack to communicate with him and to see what's going on. And sometimes I do this. I sit on the sidelines wondering, I haven't heard from him in an hour. Is the PW thing done so I could take a look at it? Because I'm still doing QC with him, Mark. The last time he did MailChimp and PW, he totally ruined it. I mean, he did. It was the worst display of training, of the outcome of training I've ever seen. And anyway, I told him, I said, we got to fix that. So I kind of reined him back a bit, and I said, let's do one thing at a time.
Have you told him like the big picture, the why?
Oh yeah. Oh, he knows that, and he does get that. Let me just
music going with the hair.
Who has that ringtone? Cam's like, we've all seen Point Break. I'll be Keanu. You can be Swayze. I'll be Keanu.
It was California, and I'm talking to some guys out there about doing some stuff, but it was another one of those damn robo bullshit calls. God, I hate them.
What I love about that is it was California. Like the entire state's like, hey buddy, how's the hair?
How's the hair?
Come and see the ocean.
Yes,
it's your good friend, the whole of California here.
Yeah, that's what happened on my Friday live Zoom this Friday. My Town Hall Academy Friday. Everybody's harassing me about my hair in the chat box. I'm trying to run this very serious show on improving your soft skills, and here comes the chat about my hair, cornrows, and all that shit. Oh my god,
cornrows!
Yeah.
Well done.
Amazing. Oh, amazing. Anyway, I forgot to mention Rick's actually at the National Speakers Association thing, which I totally forgot about. So that's why he's not here. So yeah, anyway, good work, Cam. A few challenges with that, but we'll maybe pick that up in a while.
We're rocking, baby. We're rocking.
We are. Andrea, how are you? Wins and challenges.
So I don't know if you saw my Slack message, but my week blew up in an amazing way last week. So I had a chance to actually meet over Zoom with my Dubai colleague, and she is ready to go. I mean, she wants to create a global curriculum for parents and kids based on, positive psychology, appreciative inquiry. And she wants to launch it through a global entity, which I was able to locate the personal emails of two of the huge thought leaders in that, just through my own network. And I have a drafted email that I'm still working on to engage them to see if they're interested in partnering. And I also connected with another UK colleague to do another version of that for, it would still be like a complement this stuff, but from an outdoor perspective. And then the Nantucket Project called me, and I was asking them before about volunteering opportunities because it costs $5,500 to attend this event, but the funding goes towards people's projects, towards creating a better world through community or through different lenses. And it is very much positive psychology based. And they called me and they got another colleague on the phone and surprised me to say that they're bringing me there for free. And they're letting me attend the whole event. And it's based on my feedback I've been offering. And they're just another partner I would like to have along my journey. So that was huge.
You are on fire.
You are, honestly. You're like the network queen.
You are on fire. Wow. Oh my God. I can sit back someday and say, I know you.
Well, this is huge because this is a world stage brought to Nantucket every year. And the people that take the stage they're big thought leaders, but they're also people that are up and coming who want to make the world a better place. And they share their idea, and the Nantucket Project funds them. But they said that they did not pick me at random. They selected me on purpose based on, what I'm bringing. And, I've started my Nantucket Neighborhood Project, and I meet this Wednesday night for my third meeting with women that I bring to my house. And it's it's not a book club. It's video vignettes that the Nantucket Project sends. And then you just show the video for 20 minutes and let the conversation unfold. And the whole premise is for people to connect and get them out of their homes and have conversations worth having. So it's huge. That was huge. Like I couldn't believe they offered me that. And I'm going to be in Vermont the weekend before. So it might work out well that I can just go right over to Nantucket. And I am in Vermont for a global appreciative inquiry gathering. So that will be a nice compliment on both ends. Been working on podcast episodes, just following my, see, I'm starting to learn, Mark. I see how you're repurposing content, and I'm following my onboarding emails.
Good.
And planning podcast episodes based on my onboarding. And I've been supporting Raf, and he supporting me back and forth. My challenge, I just bought an iPhone 8 Plus, and when I take pictures, they come in an HEIC file, and I'm trying to convert them to JPEG, and it's becoming more of a challenge than I ever thought. I thought
how are you exporting them? I've never heard of that before.
It's just if I email them to myself to try to upload into like Medium or whatever, the file is gigantic, and it says you have to change it to a JPEG. And this is new, I guess, with the 8 Plus. I don't know. You guys are way more techie
there's something not going on right there. Your best bet is probably not to email them. Maybe just if you can quickly download the Dropbox app onto your phone. I've been doing, using I've got an iPhone X, and it's the same thing. So it should be fine. There's something not right going on with that.
You can look at it online, and it's a huge thing when you start to explore it.
It's very weird. Honestly, I promise I've never heard that before. That's not to say it's not happening, but it's just to say that there might just be an easier way to do it. So maybe just try and push them up to Dropbox and then access it. Because I know you've got Dropbox on your computer. Access it from Dropbox and just do it like that.
All right.
It's very weird, though. I've never heard of that, but it is a common thing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's not happening in the UK. But Raf sent me like 30 Slack messages of...
Just to say hello.
No, just like sending me supporting things to convert the files.
Yeah.
So I have to sit and go through them.
You shouldn't need to do that. That's very weird. If you want to jump on a quick chat one of the days, just have a look at it. We can do a 10-minute run through, and I'll just make sure. What computer are you using? Are you using a Mac or are you using a PC?
Yeah, MacBook Air.
Well, you might actually, the best way then is to actually airdrop it.
Okay.
So as long as you're on the same Wi-Fi network, you can airdrop it over. I do it all the time. If I take a picture or a screenshot, and then I'll quickly airdrop it over to my Mac.
All right. So I don't even know how to do that. So
yeah, we'll have a look at that. That we can save you some hassle there.
All right. And then GoDaddy is still a challenge. I go in there. Well, I've called, and they make it so impossible to even access your account, even though I am proving that I'm me. I have the credit card that says I'm me. They still can't help me. I go online to access my account, and I send the thing to say, please reset my passcode. It says link sent to your email. It never comes.
Oh, Lord.
And then I started Googling this, and apparently lots of people are having this, and so I'm still trying to chase it down. I'd rather probably not go with them again. I had another one through Bluehost, and they were so amazing. You know, I just contacted them and just said, hey, I'm not interested in this URL anymore. And they said, fine. You know, when you see the alerts, just know it's taken care of, and now it's done. GoDaddy's been a nightmare. And my other challenge is just linking my Aweber to my landing page. I do have a meeting with a designer. I don't know if she's going to be able, she's the person I would have wanted to help me with design work with the web page or website, but she's not doing that work, unfortunately. So I'm still having a call with her, and then I'll see if I need to deploy my niece to help.
I was going to ask about that. Yeah, how did that go? Did you speak to your niece?
Well, I wanted to talk to this woman first, but my niece is she's in this business, and she's doing design, and she's doing, you know, the whole back end of online frameworks.
Oh, okay.
And she does that for a company in Ohio. So I'll talk with this other woman first, and then I'll go to my niece. I'd rather not go with family, honestly, but we'll see.
I understand that completely. That makes sense. Well, a few tech challenges then, but you know, we can get through those, and we'll sort the iPhone thing out. That's no worry. And then just focus on the positives from that network. I think that's insane. Well done. That is. Yeah. I remember us talking about the Nantucket project months and months ago, and it come in and, you know, wondering how it was going to pan out and play out. So I think that's amazing. Well done.
Yeah, thanks. That's pretty exciting.
Well done. Really, really good.
Yeah.
Good.
And the theme this year for the project is called Neighborhood, Nantucket Neighborhood, which is the program I'm in. So,
well, without the pun, it's right up your street. Did not mean that to be the pun, but that's just how genius I am. That caught all comedy.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Good. Well, well done. Well done. Louisa, how are you?
Doing well. We got a lot done this week. Wow, I'm setting up the workshop at the doctor's office. And then trying to figure out what the offerings would be at the workshop. I'm setting up the group, a private group, that's going to be a paid group for support and training, where I would also have training. And this week I got my speaker kit finally done, and I have a lot of people that I want to mail it to, because there are some organizations that has chapters or branches or whatever you call it all over the place that has parent meetings and things like that, and they're always looking for speakers. So I'm going to send my speaker kit, my speaker one sheet to these places, and it's really great because I narrowed down to 3 speeches that I can do. So that's it. Okay, that's good. That's a win. Yeah, and I met somebody yesterday at church where instantaneously I knew she would probably use my help. So I talked to her just for a little bit, and then immediately, as soon as, I think right after we talked, I saw that she took our quiz. She did a few things on our website. So I'm realizing that it's not that we don't get traction, but it's that we don't get traffic. So I think I'm going to do Facebook ad, paid ad. And I mean, I started Instagram messages, and I started doing that, but I think this organic marketing is not paying off.
Well, so I think you've got to just stop that, because I've got some of the feedback from Marco, you know, around not wanting to do this Facebook Live because of the engagement. Well, I'll be totally honest. If marketing is that big, like, I can barely see what you're doing inside it. And the challenge is, we're all the same. We all have the same problem. Is that because we live this thing every single day, we assume it consumes us. We know everything about it, and we assume that the tiny bit that we do, which encompasses everything in our brain, the entire world should instantly understand what we're doing, and thus should understand everything and come to our website en masse. It just simply does not work like that. So the organic marketing, it's not like it's not working. It's just there's nothing, like, you're a content creator at the minute. You're not marketing the content. It's kind of the same way you can, is that you're a content creator. You're not marketing a business through the use of content. And there's a very distinct difference between those. Not a bad thing, because media's been doing that forever. But for you, Louisa, and actually for you, when you get going with the production of the content, Andrea, you're creating content to market something. You're not creating content to be a media outlet, which is where Calm's ever so slightly different. You know, you started life, Remarkable Results, as a media business in theory, Calm, and it just so happens that now you can sell other things and move forward with that. So I think, Louisa, from your side, I think it's, you know, we've got back to the kind of what we talked about last week with this consistency thing. You've just got to coin Rick's phrase, you just got to show up. And it's, you know, just, I've said it before, like the second that you think you're doing too much marketing is probably the second that you're doing like 10% of what you should be. You know, you've really got to go to town on it and do way too much. It's crazy how much you need to do.
So I don't mind doing it when there is audience.
Yeah, but you can't get it's chicken and egg. It's chicken and egg. Like, I am not going to go back to a store that doesn't have any clothes in it to buy clothes the next time. I'm just not going to do it. So that store has got to keep refreshing its goods. It's got to keep showing what it can give me. It's got to keep showing me all the good stuff that it can sell me, because then at the point that I'm ready to buy that new T-shirt, I will go back to the store. So you can't say I'm not going to do it if there's no audience. That's just like, it won't work. It just simply will not work.
Well, I mean, I'm going to do it where there is audience.
Yeah, but
that's what I'm trying to say.
I get that totally, and I agree with that. But you've got to go through this. You've got to go through the kind of. Have you ever heard like the PESO model? PESO, paid, earned, social, and owned content. So you've got to do things in each one of those realms. You know, so paid is definitely one strand of it. But you're not buying an audience. Actually, what you're doing is buying clicks, and there's a big difference. Like, an audience is someone that will turn up. If you turned up to the opening of a packet of cheese, they would turn out and they would support you. That's an audience. Whereas the people that are clicking through, they want this thing that you're going to give them. So it's quite a distinction. I'm not saying you don't need to do that, but I think we have to get some traffic.
You're paying to get a view.
Exactly, which is
the first thing you need.
Well,
because currently all our messages, we look at the data, it's like, you know, we're reading about it somewhere else, and we really feel that, I think maybe a few years ago, Facebook, this organic marketing worked very well on Facebook, but now they come up with the ads. And so when you have a business account and you try to blast messages out, it almost seems like it doesn't reach. It doesn't even reach our own followers.
Okay, I'm going to actually
which is very strange.
I'm going to turn this around on its head. What if Facebook disappeared tomorrow?
Yeah, so that's why I'm doing the local things.
Exactly.
That's why I'm doing the things where real person with their bodies will show.
And that's where you need to focus. Think back to right at the beginning of the plan. You know, the local stuff was the main kicker. The local stuff was the main thrust of it. Like, why bother? Facebook isn't doing anything for you right now. Why bother? Why not put 200% effort into the things that are working? You know, this is like Calm suddenly stopping producing episodes of Remarkable Results, because he got to a point where that got successful and then thought, I can move to something else. You don't do that. You just, you focus on what's working and then slowly add things in.
So question, that consistent thing that every week people can see you, can find you. So if I do Instagram, and if I do a photo post with a few lines of thoughts there per week, followed by a video of 5 to 10 minutes of in-depth explanation of what was going on there, is that considered the showing up every week, see me there, or not, because it's not interactive?
It's not anything to do with interactive. What you're doing every time is you're trying to find the path of least resistance. That's what's happening here. You want the traffic without the work required to get the traffic. It's just, it won't work like that. So what you've got to do, can you remember right at the beginning when we launched, I said, what you need to do is you need to get a pile, a masses and masses and masses list of all the podcasters in your niche, in your, any parenting podcast, and you need to guest on them. Real basic kind of network marketing 101 in today's age. Like, that is the way to do it, because there's an audience.
So now I can use my speaker sheet to go and send it to those people.
Yeah, you can do that, but you have to do that. You know what I mean? Facebook and Instagram, it doesn't matter the channel. It doesn't matter whether it's interactive or not. Is the fact that in order to gain mass appreciation, you have to be talking to masses. That's it. And
right, but I'm asking when you said, okay, you gotta have something where every Thursday come see me. Every Thursday I'm here, right? So does that element, because I'm still trying to do that, does that element need to be interactive? Like you can ask me questions, I will respond, I'm here, this live interaction? Or if I do an Instagram 1 to 2 posts per week, followed by the TV, a 10-minute, 5-minute in-depth into what we were doing in that picture and why we were doing that, does that count? Because that's not interactive. But every week, every Thursday, I'm going to do the TV. Every Thursday, I'm going to be there. Does that count?
I'd suggest it needs to be, right. So think about the point of the interactivity for Harmonious Clan. And this applies to you, Andrea. It applies to you, Calm, for building brand Calm as well. What you're doing with this is like, you are, okay, let's take radio as the example. I turn up in my car and I'm driving to work and I'm listening to the radio show and I'm boom, boom, boom. It's one way. They're giving me content. And if I tune in, I tune in. If I don't tune in, I don't tune in. But then on a night time, there's a talk show that talks about health problems and relationship problems and all that good stuff. When I've got an issue, I'm aware of that radio station through my consumption, through everything that I do. Consume. And halfway through the morning radio show, that guy says, at 10 p.m. tonight, there's the phone in. If you've got problems with your diet, go and talk to this guy later. And you don't need it for 2 years. And then one day, you suddenly think you're a little bit slow. And you know what? I'm actually going to call in. And at 10 p.m. that night, you call in, and it changes from being a content consumption to being an active conversation. So I think we've got to make the distinction between content creation, content marketing, and a way of transferring people into becoming advocates. So the content creation, that's the stuff that you're doing now. That's fine. It's great content, and that's your arsenal. That's the tool that you pull out when someone asks you a question or someone's questioning your authority. You can say, well, actually, look at these things. This proves, for me as Calm, I've got 350 episodes of remarkable results. Why do you need to listen to me on my new magazine show? Because who else has this knowledge? Only me. And it's the same for you guys. When it comes down to if you think back to what you're trying to achieve with this, Louisa, is the fact that you've got these meetings in the church or in the doctor's surgery. If you and I have a conversation now and I'm like, wait a sec, what's going on here? This is really good. Louisa, you feel like you can help me. What do I do next? If you tell me to go and consume content, what am I going to do? I'll go and I might look, and yeah, I might sign up to the email list, but what I'm actually going to do is I'm probably going to defer it, and then I'll defer it again. And then at the time that I'm just thinking, oh, I've got 20 minutes on a night time, I might kind of maybe just skirt the edges of it. Whereas if you do something interactive, if you can say, look, your direct, the number one next step is for you to see me, put it in your calendar now at 3 p.m. on Thursday at this place, and I will answer the next question that you've got. I will answer the next question that you've got. And then I'll always be there. I will always be there. Oh, well done, Andrea. I just saw that pop up. I'll come back to that in a sec. So what you've got to do is you've got to be there and present, even if there's no engagement, even if there's no one on. If there's no one on, you treat it as a workshop and you treat it as a place. But what you're doing is you're inviting people to have two-way conversation with you. And there's no right or wrong channel for it. It might be Instagram Live. It might be a one-to-one phone call. It might be a Facebook Live, you know? And then...
Okay, so I need to know what is the good media for that.
It doesn't matter. It's whatever works best for you and your audience. Like, what is easier for a parent?
I don't know. Well, what are some options? Facebook Live, I did it for a while, and then and nobody showed up, so I ended up having another thing that I gotta create content for every week, that I gotta be talking about something for. So
and that's not a hard thing for you guys. You know this. I mean, you've got anecdotes and stories from your daily life. You've also got a pile of content on your website that you can mine for little topics. So what we've got to do is we've got to find, and this, again, this applies to you, Cam, it applies to you, Andrew, is that we've got to find if you think about you guys as the product, and in your case, Louise, the parents as the market, we've got to find the product market fit for this thing. Like, what is going to work best for people? So it might be that you don't really want to dead end anyone. So Cam, I'll use you as the example with that. Okay. You've got a potential sponsor turn up to you at the conference. You're not even looking for sponsors, but that potential sponsor comes up. So you don't want to dead end that person. Instead, what you want to do is guide them into a relationship that you can knock on the door of in the future. That's what we're doing, Louisa, is we can knock on the door of this relationship. So we've got to decide, if I tell John Smith, who comes to see me at this conference and bumps into me and likes what I do, to book a call, is he going to do it? Has he got the time to do it? If I tell him to turn up at the town hall live, and I'll do a 5-minute Q&A with him at the beginning or the end to warm up the audience, is he going to do that? Like, what's the least friction? Not for you, but for that person. So yeah, of course, it might be Instagram TV, it might be Instagram Live, it could be Facebook Live, it could be a one-to-one call, it could be a in-person workshop. And that's where your avatars are really important. Like, this person, okay, this person's busy. They take the kids to school. They go to church at 10 a.m. But they've actually, usually, I know, because I'm a parent, they've got time between 12 and 2. Maybe I could do something in that slot. You know, and maybe, well, they're logged into Facebook all the time anyway. So maybe I do it on Facebook, or maybe I do it at a local coffee shop, you know? And it's just about, what most people do is, like, say Hannah and I met at a conference and she said, can you give me something? I'd give her the flyer. It's not about giving her the flyer, because that flyer goes in the pocket and then gets binned when it gets home. What it's about is saying, get your device, your phone, whatever, and put in your calendar now that I will see you at this time at this place. And that can be facilitated in any way. Like I said.
Okay, so give me the places. Give me the places.
Facebook Live, Instagram Live.
Instagram Live is interactive?
You can, all comments and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And you can even invite people on.
What else?
Facebook Live, Instagram Live. You could do Periscope, which is still weirdly booming. But then you could do book a one-to-one call. You could do in-person workshops. You could do Zoom mastermind calls. Andrea, you and I have spoken about these little mini groups that you can pull together. Just get together like this. Every week I host a free parent mastermind. It's 4 p.m. on Zoom. Here's how you go to it. harmoniusclan.com/meet. Even if it's just you give it 20 minutes and you go and make a brew and off you go. You're finished if no one turns up. It's no real hardship.
Okay.
It's just about showing up, because then one person shows up and they tell the next person, and then the next. And even if you get, like on my free coaching on Fridays, I might get, maybe a top end. I think the most I've had is like 40 people. And the average is about 20.
So a Zoom like this, where it's not being broadcasted anywhere?
Yeah, you could do that if it needs to be more private. Or you could even just do it manually. Just get out your phone at the time that you see that person and just say, the point is to define something that you'll show up to. And it's about, people know that as a business you're going to be creating content. Like, they know that. And if you're not creating content and marketing, then you probably you just don't look legitimate, because you're not doing any marketing. You have to be seen to be selling and creating and doing. So by doing something else that's not content, it shows that you're willing to do it. It shows that you're willing to take someone and say.
So say, call me. That's enough.
Yeah, but call me when and where. Okay, I want
make an appointment right now.
Yeah. Call me at 3 p.m. on Wednesday, and I'm going to take your number just in case. You just got to show up to something. It's better to do it in a one-to-many environment, I think, to start with, because if you think about it, like, a call is a little bit salesy, even though you wouldn't be salesy, people can construe that as quite salesy.
Yes.
So again, for brand Cam and for brand Andrea, bringing that back in, what you'd find is that if someone was someone again bumped into you, Cam, or to you, Andrew, and was like, look, I kind of want to sponsor the show, that would be a phone call because they've asked to transact or at least explore a transaction. But if someone comes to you, Andrew, and says, you know what, my son's having a tough time at school and all he wants to do is just a very sensitive person. We need to figure out how to help him navigate around the days. You just say, right, I've made a note of that. I've got this. I am going to talk about this on this session at this time in this place. Facebook Live, Instagram Live, Periscope, a Zoom session. And you are very welcome at this time on this day in this place to come, and I will answer that thing or talk about that thing. And it's the consistency of doing it. It's that reliability, it's that reliability.
Is Zoom well recognized and used by general populations?
Yeah, I think like people like us use it. Yeah, I don't know like people that aren't generally in the internet scene, but I would imagine it's. And you might know a bit more about this, Cam. I've not actually used it for a long time where I don't have the app on my computer. So I don't know what that experience is like. Did you have to download it still? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's an executable, meaning it's not like a GoToMeeting, but it's an executable. So people actually have to download an app. Mm-hmm. But it's very controlled by, I mean, I've seen the differences, and Zoom gets a really high rating from a liability side. And, it's got to work for me because I'm doing this Facebook Live. I have a sponsor who's, I'm committed to holding this show. Although I use the webinar feature of Zoom, the meeting feature of Zoom that we're using here, for people that are serious, they come in through their phone. They can come in through their phone, but there's other easy options out there.
Yeah,
I just thought of YouTube Live. YouTube. I see a couple of guys doing a lot of YouTube Live lately.
I've not used that for a while, actually. I used to use it for our webinars, which was interesting.
Ton of people using YouTube Live, and it doesn't look that hard. I mean, you got a really good chat thing going. It's not on Facebook.
But is it private or is it everybody?
It's private. I mean, you got to have the link. And for example, I have a link in Zoom that my VA and I use, and I also give out to people who want to test their equipment. I'm not sure, I've never done this before. Okay, great. Well, Tuesday, 10 a.m., I'll do a 10-minute test. And I just send them my page. And they show up. It usually works 98%. And there's nothing like face-to-face and audio. I mean, I can't see how life goes on audio phone only today.
Yeah, I agree with that. And just to kind of give you a really solid framework there, Louisa, what I'd personally do is I would just have, and I think we talked about this last week in our session, I would have a very clear and simple progression, which would be, I have 1 hour a week available for 15-minute calls. That's it. There's 4 slots available. So I meet you at the church, or I meet you in the doctor's workshop. You can now go to your phone, go to this web address, and you can book in right now with me one of those slots. And then to legitimize that, you've got to be seen to be selling something above that, which might be a 40-minute, 45-minute paid for call, which then legitimizes the free call, and in turn give you something to sell and upsell there too. And that is all you need. You don't need anything complex. You don't need to be a coaching program. You just got to be that thing.
That's a cool idea if you think about it, Louisa. You offer your 15-minute slot. Mark really helped me about 3 months ago say, you stupid son of a... He looked at my calendar and he saw all these crazy interview. I remember I shared it with somebody. So now I only interview on Tuesdays. I broke the rule today because this guy I need to interview, he can't do Tuesdays through Thursdays. So I'm breaking the rule today. I've broken it once, like in the last 4 or 5 months. And if you have that free call in those 4 slots every Tuesday, to sell that 45-minute mastermind coaching thing, wow, how powerful is that? I mean, you literally, like Rick has, I think he uses Zoom, and I think he has a Zoom, mastermind. I can't imagine parents not wanting to join that group to and you need to figure out Mark's format. The format's fabulous. Challenges, you get that done in 10 minutes. And then you let and then you pick a subject of the day. And sometimes you may go where one person's having their challenge and they all chime in, and, you got to sit back and let them do the work. Wow, that was a great coaching session I had with Louisa, and you didn't say hardly but 50 words, but they got it off their chest. They worked together, and they love you because you helped bring it together.
That is definitely it.
Yeah, so the biggest part is that you only have 4 of these free slots per week.
No, no. I think one of the issues that you and Marco generally have with this business is that you think too literally. I think you've got to just start thinking like you guys. Okay, it's the reliance on the technology doesn't matter, and the medium, the platform, it purely does not matter, because Facebook will change its algorithm again and again and again and again and again and again. And honestly, building it on that is they're like a false prophet. We can't be handling that. So what we've got to do is we've got to just apply the process that parents will need to go through, and then just use the bits of technology to facilitate that. So it's not a case of saying 4 is right, 5 is wrong. It's just a case of saying, you know what, I just have something consistent that I turn up. I tweak my scheduling all the time. I've done it this morning. We've got James starting in a couple of weeks, 2 weeks today, and all my schedule will change on the back of that. I will only do calls then for 1 hour or 2 hours on a Wednesday.
I was wondering, we were defining that last night. Actually, we defined the features or the benefits of what goes into the 15-minute call, and we define what is going to go into the 45-minute, 1 hour call. They're going to get an action plan and things like that afterwards. We thought about pricing the 15-minute call as to actually have a price. But so when we meet people for the first time, we can give them those for free. But otherwise, those 15 minutes can be used for whatever. You got another question, you got an emergency, you got this, you got that, and they actually do have a price on it. So when we actually do roll out the group, it would be where, okay, so when in a group, when in a package deal, and you get access to time, it would, how do I say this? It would be very valuable, because otherwise it's these 15 minutes you got to pay for the time calls every time you have an issue.
Yeah. So the way to structure that one is super simple. You do one 15-minute call, which is not prescribed. You don't tell them what they're getting. You don't do anything. You turn up and be quiet and listen. That is it. 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever you need to do for that one. The next step is you have some kind of paid for solid block of time, which might be 30 minutes, might be 45 minutes. And that costs, let's call it $500 for that thing. And then you batch an amount of time, so 4 or 5 of these sessions, plus access to the group like we've got here. And that is better value than 4 individual of these sessions.
Right.
So that's all you need to do. You don't need to prescribe an action plan, because what you're doing is, the challenge is that if you walk into a barman never says to you, here's whiskey. The barman always says, what do you want? And if I ask for vodka and it gives me whiskey, I'm gone. I'm like, what is this? You absolute oddball. I hate whiskey. For the percentage of people that love whiskey, that's a win. But for most people, they're not fussed. So you kind of got to go in there and listen, and don't be too prescriptive. What you've got to do is promise. In your case, you've actually got a really easy sell on it. You promise an emotional outcome, which is you will feel better. That's it. It's broad enough. You'll feel better. What am I going to do? Massage you or tell you jokes? What is it? Some way you will feel better. And what they'll do is they'll apply that in whatever they're struggling with. They'll associate that with feeling better in that regard. Does that kind of make sense?
I agree with Mark as it comes to, you don't want to promise an action plan if the person's not ready. It's like the student or the teacher arrives when the student does. And I think you're going to have to feel out that 15 to 20 minute call and find out what they need. And then you're going to have to adjust.
Action plan was going to be based on what they say then I'll say, okay, there's this one thing that you can do that's going to help your situation a lot better. There's
Give me
one
a quick win.
key thing you can do that's going to help you with 80% of your problem. And because the intention is most people are overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed. They don't know what to do. There's too much to do. They don't know anything of what to do. So it's like, okay, here's one thing you can go do that's going to help you with 80% of your problems. And I thought that was going to be a value added thing to be able to walk away with that one thing.
It is.
That's what I thought.
Give them the quick win, because if you, on the 15-minute chat, give them the quick win. If you can be the hero of that call, they will be back. They might not book a paid call for another 6 months, but they will, the second they need someone, they will be back. And they're going to tell people as well. That's the kicker, you know. But then think about bigger picture. You know, you have got to go out and start being on other shows and doing interviews for blogs and guesting in books and the groups that we talk. You have got to do that, because then when people say, where can we find you online? Well, guess where they can find you online? At harmoniousclan.com/book this free thing. Not just harmoniousclan.com, because that's too broad, it's too generic. You're not giving me anything, you know? So that's the point of it, because you've set your systems up. The systems are easy. You've done it. You set your free call, then you set your one-off, then you set your program. And then you just throw people at that then. Just throw them all at it. Throw people at it.
So in general, is it always better to give people one thing to do, tell people one thing to do, or is it better to tell people there are a few things you can do? You can check out podcasts, you can read a blog, you can turn up on this live thing, you can turn up on the TV, and what's better, one thing or a few selections?
One. It depends on the context. So this, for example, this is our schedule of content. That is our content email to the members. So you guys are going to get content about our meetups and having fun with the Paul stretch effects in Audacity. I don't know what that is, but you're going to get some content about it. And in that, there won't be calls to action. There'll be links to content. So that's value. This email is a sales email to non-members. And that will just be one call to action. It will be, here's a thing, here's a benefit, do this one thing. So people are already in your ecosystem. Are you off, Cam? Good to see you, man. Bye. So people are already in your ecosystem. You can do a little bit more with them, because it's not the end of the world if they don't do that. Having said that, Andrea, you just told me that you registered for the meetup in Philly. When we send stuff to you as members, we will say that first email about the meetup, there'll be one call to action, which is you need to register. Because if you don't, the place is probably going to fill up. And that's you've got to be quite careful with it, you know. So for people, like when you're on a show, when you're on a podcast, you can mention you have a podcast, you can mention you have a book, and you have all this other stuff. But where can people find you online? It's harmoniousclan.com/this one thing.
So give them one thing.
Always one thing. Because they get too confused and then don't do anything. You know,
okay, right. Another question for the doctors' workshops over there. In order to collect emails during that workshop, is it a good idea to ask participants to sign up for it?
Yes.
To hold their space?
Yeah.
Or is it not a good idea? Don't. Just show up.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
What,
yeah.
sign up?
Just show up, sign up, and literally, so go and check out, in fact, here where we're doing this, beyondthepodcastsummit.com. Just go and check that out, and you can pre-register, but on the day, you'll just be able to show up as well. So both. Prior to the event, there it is, go and pre-register. On the event, you're here. Stick your email address and get access, you know?
Oh, why should they pre-register if you can just show up?
Because they might forget, they might not. You've got to market it prior to it, you know?
Right, we will do that, and the doctor wants to do that too.
Yeah.
So go here, go pre-register.
Yeah, definitely. Go and pre-register, and then what you'll need to do is, on the day, that form will just switch to a let me in. So put your email address in, then you'll get let in. You know, that's the kind of thing. Or you'll get the details, or, you know, however you structure that.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So I think the takeaway, we have to wrap on the hour for this session, but I think the key takeaway is, it's not about picking a channel or the technology. It's just, you've got to just do something consistent, whether that is phone calls, whether it's letting people go to a booking link or a summit or a workshop. Find something you can do consistently on a one-to-one or a one-to-many basis, but do it live so that person can take the next step from consuming the content to be moved into, hello, it's you and me. You know, that's the thing to do. Don't worry about the technology. It could just be, it can actually just be a phone call. That's it. Nice and simple. But if you want to follow up on that, Louise, Marco had sent me a message through on Slack. I didn't reply to it because I knew we were talking today and I wanted to do it in a bit more personal. But if you want to follow up with it, we can do the usual in Slack. And, you know, if you want to help setting it up logistically on the site, we can always go through that.
Okay.
Cool. Andrea, yes, let's follow up on Slack regarding the airdrop thing. We'll get that fixed for you as well. Very odd. I'm going to look into that issue. I've never seen that. So I'm very curious about that. So we'll follow up on that. So, right, guys, I'm going to wrap it on the hour today. Got another session, but Louisa, drop me a line. Fill Marco in on what we talked about, and let's keep chatting on it. So I'm keen to, I want to get that done and wrapped so that we can actually get some traffic into it, you know?
Okay.
Cool. All right, team, well, much love. Andrea, I'll see you next Monday on a heads up, by the way. There might not be a mastermind just because we'll be at Podcast Movement and it gets a little hectic.
I won't be able to be there either.
That's all right. And then you're ready for the meetup, aren't you, though, Andrea? So we'll see you next Wednesday, is it?
Yeah.
Cool. So we'll check in, Louisa, and we'll make sure that things are progressing.
Cool. All right.
Thank you.
All right, team. Much love. Bye.
Break on 3.
Go on 3.